It's growing in your neighbor's garden right now, maybe even in your own backyard. It looks harmless, pretty even. Children play near it, pets sniff it, and every single year it kills people across the United States without a single bite, without a single sting. Just one wrong touch, one wrong taste, and your body starts shutting down within hours. Today, we're counting down the 10 deadliest plants growing across America. And trust me, number 1 is something you've probably walked past 100 times without knowing what it could do to you. Stick around until the end because number 4 has killed more people in the US than almost any other plant on this list, and it's sold in stores. Let's get into it. If you're new here, we cover the strangest, deadliest, and most fascinating things hiding in plain sight across the world. Hit subscribe because after this list, you'll never look at your garden the same way again. Number 10. White Snakeroot. And this one has a body count you'd never expect because it doesn't even need to kill you directly. This unassuming woodland plant grows wild across the eastern United States, especially in shaded forests and pastures. It contains a toxin called trematol. On its own, it's dangerous enough. But here's the horrifying part: cattle and other livestock eat it without knowing any better. And when they do, that poison doesn't just stay in the animal, it passes straight into their milk. In the early 1800s, before anyone understood what was happening, entire American farming communities were devastated by something they simply called milk sickness. Families would drink fresh milk from their own cows, and within days, they'd develop tremors, vomiting, and severe weakness. Many didn't survive. One of the most famous victims, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, the mother of Abraham Lincoln. She died from milk sickness in 1818 when Abraham was just 9 years old. So next time you think of Abraham Lincoln, remember, a wild plant most people have never heard of may have changed the course of American history before he even became president. Number 9. Pokeweed. If you've spent any time in the eastern or southern United States, you've seen this plant, tall with striking purple-black berries that almost look edible. In fact, birds eat them constantly, completely unaffected. But for humans, every part of this plant, the roots, the leaves, the stems, and especially the berries, contains toxic compounds called phytolactotoxin and phytolactogenin. Here's what makes pokeweed genuinely strange. In parts of the American South, the young shoots are actually eaten, but only after an intense, very specific boiling and rinsing process to remove the toxins. Locals call the dish poke salad. Get that process even slightly wrong, and you're looking at severe vomiting, dangerously low blood pressure, and in extreme cases, respiratory failure. Children are the most common victims, drawn in by those bright, tempting berries that look almost exactly like grapes. Poison control centers across the US still report pokeweed ingestion cases every single year. Number 8. Jimsonweed. And this plant doesn't just poison you, it invades your mind first. The name itself comes from a real historical event, Jamestown Weed. In 1676, British soldiers sent to suppress a rebellion in Jamestown, Virginia, unknowingly ate this plant in a salad. What happened next was documented by witnesses as pure chaos. The soldiers spent 11 days in a violent hallucinatory stupor, some blowing feathers into the air, others trying to kiss their own reflections, completely disconnected from reality. Historians consider it one of the earliest recorded mass poisonings on American soil. Jimsonweed contains powerful tropane alkaloids, atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. These chemicals don't just cause hallucinations, they cause a terrifying combination of extreme thirst, blurred vision, wildly elevated heart rate, and delirium so intense that victims often can't tell what's real. To this day, Jimsonweed poisoning remains one of the leading causes of plant-related emergency room visits among American teenagers, some who deliberately ingest it seeking a high, with tragically unpredictable, sometimes fatal results. We're only a third of the way through this list, and the next plant has fooled experienced foragers, ranchers, and even trained botanists. Number 7. Death Camas. Across the western United States, this plant grows in meadows alongside a nearly identical, completely edible relative, called the blue camas. The bulbs look almost the same, the leaves look almost the same, but Death Camas contains zygadonine, a toxin that attacks the heart and nervous system almost immediately after ingestion. This isn't a theoretical risk. Every year, ranchers across states like Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming lose livestock that graze on Death Camas by mistake. And it's not just animals. Foragers who think they've identified wild onions or edible camas bulbs have been rushed to hospitals with drooling, vomiting, muscle weakness, and dangerously slowed heart rates. The terrifying part? There's often no easy way to tell the two plants apart just by looking. You practically need to smell them, since true camas has a faint onion scent and Death Camas has none. One missed detail, and it's a trip to the emergency room if you're lucky enough to make it there in time. Number 6. Poison Hemlock. And this plant has one of the most infamous reputations in all of human history. This is the plant believed to have killed the Greek philosopher Socrates in 399 BC after he was sentenced to death by his own government. But here's what most people don't realize. Poison hemlock isn't some ancient relic confined to history books. It grows wild across nearly every U.S. state today, often along roadsides, ditches, and riverbanks. It contains conine, a neurotoxin that causes a slow, methodical paralysis, starting in the legs and working upward through the body. Victims remain fully conscious the entire time. Their muscles simply stop responding one by one until finally, the muscles controlling breathing shut down completely. What makes poison hemlock especially dangerous in modern America is how easily it's confused with wild carrot, parsley, and fennel, plants foragers actively seek out. Every year, there are documented cases of people mistaking hemlock leaves for parsley or hemlock roots for wild parsnip, with devastating and sometimes fatal consequences. If you ever see purple splotches on a tall plant with delicate white flower clusters near a roadside, walk away. That's not decoration. That's a warning sign written by nature itself. We've officially hit the top 5, and this next plant contains one of the most notorious poisons on planet Earth. Number 5. The castor bean plant. Grown widely as an ornamental across American gardens for its dramatic, tropical-looking leaves, this plant's seeds contain ricin, a toxin so potent that it's classified by health authorities as one of the most toxic naturally occurring substances known to science. Ricin has been used historically in real-world assassination attempts and remains a subject of serious concern for public health officials. The most infamous case tied to this toxin made international headlines in 1978, when a foreign dissident living in London was assassinated using a device disguised as an umbrella. That incident alone cemented ricin's reputation as one of history's most feared poisons, and it comes from a plant sold at garden centers across the United States, often without a single warning label. If ingested, ricin poisoning causes severe vomiting, internal bleeding, organ failure, and, depending on exposure, death within days. There is no widely available antidote. And yet, most homeowners who plant castor bean for its striking appearance have absolutely no idea what's sitting in their flower bed. Remember at the beginning, I told you this next plant has killed more people than almost anything else on this list, and it's sold in actual stores? Here it is. Number 4, the Rosary Pea. These small, glossy red and black seeds are almost hypnotically beautiful, Rhesus, which is exactly why they've been used for decades in handmade jewelry, bracelets, and rosaries sold at craft fairs and import shops across the United States. Each seed contains abrin, a toxin structurally similar to ricin, but considered by some researchers to be even more potent. Here's the number that should genuinely disturb you. Researchers have long warned that a single fully chewed and swallowed rosary pea seed can carry a potentially lethal dose of abrin for an adult. A single seed. If the seed's hard outer shell isn't broken, it can often pass through the body harmlessly, but crack that shell even slightly while stringing it onto jewelry, and the danger becomes very real. Multiple documented cases exist of jewelry makers accidentally pricking their fingers while drilling holes into these seeds, leading to severe poisoning. Symptoms include violent vomiting, internal hemorrhaging, and multi-organ failure, often too fast for hospitals to intervene effectively. This plant is a chilling reminder that sometimes the deadliest things in America aren't hiding in remote forests. They're sitting on a table at your local farmer's market. Number 3. Angel's Trumpet. A plant so visually stunning it's become a favorite ornamental across warmer regions of the United States, from California to Florida. Its massive, drooping trumpet-shaped flowers release a powerful fragrance at night, drawing moths. And unfortunately, drawing curious humans too. Every part of this plant contains high concentrations of scopolamine and other tropane alkaloids. In some countries, scopolamine has earned a chilling nickname as the zombie drug, because in extremely high doses, it can strip away a victim's free will, memory, and awareness almost entirely, while they remain outwardly conscious and even able to follow simple commands. In the US, most Angel's Trumpet poisoning cases come from a darker trend: teenagers brewing it into a tea, seeking a hallucinogenic experience without understanding that the line between a psychoactive dose and a fatal dose can be dangerously thin. Emergency rooms across the country have documented cases involving extreme agitation, seizures, cardiac arrhythmia, and coma. It's one of the clearest examples on this list of a plant that looks like something from a fairy tale and behaves like something from a nightmare. We're almost at number 1, but don't underestimate this next plant, because it might be the most common deadly plant in all of America. Number 2, Oleander. If you've ever driven down a highway in California, Texas, Florida, or anywhere across the southern United States, you've seen oleander. Thousands of miles of it, planted deliberately along medians and roadsides because it's drought-resistant, low maintenance, and blooms beautifully almost year-round. Here's the part almost nobody driving past it realizes. Every single part of this plant, and the leaves, the flowers, the stems, even the smoke if it's burned, contains cardiac glycosides, toxins that directly attack the heart's electrical rhythm. There are documented cases of people becoming seriously ill simply from using oleander branches as skewers to roast food over a campfire. Children have been poisoned from sucking on a single flower. Pets have died from chewing a single leaf. Symptoms include irregular heartbeat, severe nausea, and in high enough doses, complete cardiac arrest. What makes oleander uniquely terrifying isn't its potency, it's its sheer presence. This isn't some rare plant hidden deep in a forest. It's deliberately planted by the thousands in nearly every major American city with a warm climate. And now, number 1. Number 1, Water Hemlock. And according to the United States Department of Agriculture, this is officially considered the most violently toxic plant native to North America. Water hemlock grows in wet meadows, along stream banks, and in marshy ditches across nearly the entire continental United States. At first glance, it looks almost identical to wild parsnip and wild carrot, two plants foragers actively search for. But its root, when cut open, reveals the telltale sign of extreme danger: a cross-section filled with small chambers containing a thick yellowish oily liquid called cicutoxin. This is where water hemlock separates itself from everything else on this list. Cicutoxin doesn't take hours to act, it doesn't give you time to seek help. Ingesting even a small piece of the root can trigger violent, uncontrollable seizures within about 15 to 60 minutes. Victims often go into full-body convulsions so severe that survivors have suffered broken bones from the muscle contractions alone. Without immediate emergency intervention, death from respiratory failure can occur in a matter of hours. There is no antidote. Treatment is purely supportive. Doctors can only try to control the seizures and keep the patient breathing long enough for the toxin to clear the body naturally, if the victim survives that long at all. The most disturbing part? Foraging guides and poison control centers still report cases every single year of people, often experienced outdoorsmen who should know better, mistaking this plant's root for a wild edible with tragic results. That's why the USDA doesn't just call this a dangerous plant, they call it the most violently toxic plant in North America, and it's growing right now in wetlands in nearly every state in the country. From a plant that may have shaped American history by killing a president's mother, to jewelry that can kill with a single seed, to a wetland root more violent than anything else in North America, nature has been hiding some of its deadliest secrets in plain sight, in backyards, roadsides, and farmers markets across the country. If this list opened your eyes to what's growing closer than you thought, hit subscribe, because next time we're uncovering 10 more things hiding in plain sight that most people never see coming. Which one of these 10 shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below.